There's a common myth that more busyness equals more productivity. I've been round the houses a few times with this myself over the years. I think when I was in my job as a head teacher, I was ridiculously busy. And I'm not sure at that point that I was actually even seeking productivity. I was kind of seeking, I don't know, a better feeling, a feeling of feeling better about myself fundamentally, I think. And I wonder how much that sort of translates across into our businesses when we are being really quite ridiculously busy. When I started my first business in, well, pretty much 9 years ago in the autumn of 2016, I focused so heavily on productivity. Like it was like the be all and end all. I'm not really sure how it came to the fore. I guess what I've already said here is that it was there for a long time in my working life before I even started a business. I mean, I guess I must have been ridiculously busy and maybe not so productive to reach the point of burnout. But somehow, as I got into the world of business, something seemed to be true to me. Please note that I did say seemed to be true. I'm not saying it was true. It seemed to be true to me that in order to be successful in the world of business, I had to be busy. I had to be doing things all the time. Now, I would love to say that I've completely dropped all of that, but I would be lying. I'd be so lying. I'd be totally lying. I haven't dropped it all at all. But what I have done is started to poke a few little holes in it as I'm going along. When I first started my business, as I got into this productivity mindset of how I had to be busy all the time and doing and I had to wake up every day and have all these goals that I had to meet, and I did all sorts of different planning strategies like the 12-hour work. No, I looked at the 4-hour work week and the 12-week year and the 5-second rule and all so many productivity hacks. I looked at lots of different books about habits, and I tried lots of tools like Asana and Trello and Google Tasks and the Eisenhower matrix. That's the important urgent one that you might be familiar with. I tried all of those things, and I remember I was working with a business coach where he said, you need to do this 12-week year planning system. You can look that up if you really want to. And it involved planning a 12-week period in my business. And so you would end up with 4 12-week periods in the year. And the idea was to have 2 or 3 big goals for that, or medium-sized goals, I suppose, for that period. And then you planned week by week what you were going to do over that 12 weeks. Literally, you said, right, on week 1, I'm going to do this. On week 2, I'll then do this. On week 3, I'll do this. Now, I think there are maybe some tasks in business that you can kind of apply that to, but most things have an organic feel to them, don't they? In that you do step 1, and then that gives you some guidance to take step 2. And this is where the presence really starts coming in, that, being in the present moment. Often we say, right, I've got to do this, this, and this, and this, and then it'll all be wonderful and my business will be successful. And actually, we miss the bits of evidence that might be saying to us, maybe go a bit in that direction or a bit in that direction, maybe nudge a bit that way or a bit that way, because we're so focused on these goals. Now, the irony of this 12-week planning system I used was it used to take me till about week 2 or 3 to actually write the plan. So there was something off there in terms of me getting that done. And then, of course, I'd be 3 weeks behind. So then there was like this frantic catch-up thing. I don't think I ever once completed all the tasks on the 12-week year. Now, that might be because I'm substandard in some way, but I suspect it's not. I suspect it's more because I was working against what's true for human beings. And I can't exactly remember the way it felt, but I know it felt forced. Like, it was like I was trying to push, those toys that babies have, my children had them, like wooden blocks with like a little container, and you've got to get the circle in the circle, and it's a great like shape matching thing you give to children when they're quite small. And it was like trying to squeeze that triangle into that circle hole. It just was, literally sawing off the triangular points and sanding it away, and eventually maybe it would go through with a lot of pushing and shoving and a lot of hard work. Whereas, oh, this metaphor's feeling nice. Whereas if we take that triangle and we pause for a minute and we take a breath and we look for the triangle and we feel for the triangle, and we maybe, just gently, oh no, that's a square, that's not going to work. We gently just feel our way, and we find that then, it flows through. The triangle just flows through the triangle hole. Most of the time, we're literally trying to push ourselves a square peg into a round hole, and it doesn't work. And really quite interestingly is like the quantity of things I actually get done, because there still is some doing to be done in the world. The things that I put out there, the things that I invite people to, the way I, turn up authentically like this in my business is extremely consistent. I've been turning up every week just about, apart from a couple of weeks off in the summer when I was kind of regrouping around my business. I've turned up every week like this and created new content, been live, shown up. And it's felt good, and it's not felt forced. It's back to what I was talking about last week. It's back to what I'm talking about with this well-run, good feeling business, is that the feeling comes first. That the good feeling comes first. And when we're really present, it feels good. And there's something there about reality as well, in that when we're in the present moment, we can take true action, I'm going to call it, because we're here in the now. We're not in some story about where we should be in the future. We're not caught up in the future and trying to predict something or work something out way ahead of time. We're just picking up the next thing. Like, this video today, I had a little think about what I talked about last week. And I sat with that and I got a sense of, what might be the next subject. And then I checked in with my little AI friend and got some ideas about things to talk about. But mainly it was, what's the next? I mean, that's something that's really great about AI, actually, that it doesn't have massive stories about the future. So if you ask it a question, it answers it in the present moment. And so there's something like really cool to see about when we really are present, we can take really aligned action. And that probably means that we have to do less in the long term, but that what we do will be more effective. Now, one of the things that I think is really important in that is slowing the chuff down. Sorry, hope that didn't make you jump too much, but we rush through everything, don't we? Because we're trying to be productive, because we're trying to get things done, because we think there are lots of things to do, because we're feeling overwhelmed, and we think that overwhelm will go away if we just work faster and harder and more hours and don't eat properly and go for walks or get enough sleep. But when we slow down, when we breathe, My lovely, lovely friend Alexi Babington talks about talking amygdalanian. When we breathe, we are settling down that stress response in the body caused by the amygdala bit of the brain, bit of the reptilian bit of the brain that tends to respond mostly from a place of fear. You know, we're we're breathing, we're slowing down, we're letting our body settle, we're allowing that clarity to come. And what I've noticed about that is that the more I do that, and trust me, I get caught up in busyitis as well a lot. Um, but when I do slow down enough and I take those pauses, and I really can see that very different solutions to mostly imagined problems come through. And that's what I try to do more of the time, and I don't always do it. Trust me, I I get lost big time in rushing about and being busy. Sometimes, it's just taking a breath and maybe having a cup of tea. I've got my cup of tea here, by the way. But sometimes it really is just, you don't even have to do anything. Some people say, "Oh, I need to go for a walk and let myself settle." That's fine if that makes sense. But maybe you don't even need to do that. Maybe just take a breath and slow down enough. And when I say slow down, not only do I mean in the physical world with what you're doing, but in your body. Does your body feel slow and calm and settled? That's a really good sign that you're on a path of being present and slowing down enough to create not necessarily more, but better. That's really it. It's slowing down to create better, because we don't have to create as much because we're creating better stuff. Oh, I hope that was helpful. I hope that left you with a nice feeling, because that's the most important thing. And that you can make more of your decisions in your business on a day-to-day basis from that feeling. Take care. Lots of love. Thank you for being here.